There's a man who mows lawns in your neighborhood that you've probably never thought twice about. Faded truck, plain uniform, nothing that suggests money. And there's a good chance he makes more than the person in your office with the fancy title and the corner desk. Nobody guesses it by looking at him, and that's exactly the point. He's not hiding anything. He's just doing work that doesn't come with a story people want to repeat at a dinner party, and somewhere along the way, that turned into an advantage instead of a limitation. Before we get into it, a quick introduction for anyone new here. I'm Jasmine. I hold a degree in business strategy and transformation, and for the past 7 years, I've studied how everyday people quietly build six-figure incomes doing things nobody would ever brag about at a dinner party. And after all that research, one thing keeps repeating so consistently that I stopped being surprised by it a long time ago. The businesses that actually pay the best are almost never the ones that look impressive. In fact, there seems to be an almost inverse relationship between how good a business sounds when you say it out loud and how much money it actually generates. Let's start with the numbers, because without data, this is just an opinion. According to IBISWorld and Census Bureau data on small business revenue, a huge share of six-figure earning business owners in the US operate in trades and services most people would call unglamorous. Plumbing, cleaning, repair, maintenance, waste handling. Not tech startups, not trendy retail, not anything that would show up in a pitch competition. The reason is simple. Even if almost nobody says it out loud, less competition wants in, because almost nobody's ego lets them picture themselves doing it. Ask a room full of ambitious 25-year-olds what business they'd love to run, and you'll hear app, brand, agency, maybe real estate. You will almost never hear grease trap pumping or scaffolding rental, even though, dollar for dollar, those unglamorous categories often out-earn most of the exciting ones. That gap between what people want to do and what actually pays is where the real opportunity sits, quietly, waiting for someone who's willing to stop caring what the business sounds like at a party. 15 businesses that quietly clear six figures without anyone noticing. Let's get into them. Commercial cleaning contracts. Not someone's house once a week, but offices, medical buildings, retail chains, cleaned nightly under a signed contract. One technician with a small crew can manage a route worth 6 figures a year in recurring billing, because businesses need this every single night, not occasionally. And once a facilities manager signs a contract, they rarely go through the hassle of switching providers unless something goes seriously wrong. That inertia is worth more than most people realize. Power washing. A pressure washer, a truck, and a trailer are the entire startup cost, and yet driveways, roofs, fences, and commercial buildings all need it regularly, with a single job often paying more per hour than most office jobs pay per day. A single strip mall power washing contract, done quarterly, can quietly generate more predictable income than most people expect from a business that costs under $5,000 to start. Window cleaning for commercial buildings. Residential window washing is a side hustle. Commercial window cleaning, done under contract for office towers and retail plazas, is a completely different business with real recurring revenue and far less competition, because most people never think past the residential version, and the equipment required to work safely at height scares off almost everyone who might otherwise compete for the contract. Vending machine and micro-market routes. A well-placed route of machines in offices, gyms, and break rooms generates income without you standing behind a register, and operators who scale to 20 or 30 well-placed machines routinely clear 6 figures simply restocking and collecting on a schedule, often spending no more than 10 to 15 hours a week actually managing the entire route once it's built out. Carpet and upholstery cleaning. Every office, hotel, and rental property needs this on a schedule, and the equipment cost is a fraction of what people assume, which means margins stay high once the first few commercial contracts are locked in, especially with hotels, where a single property can generate repeat monthly work for years without you ever having to pitch a new client. Mobile welding and metal repair. Farms, construction sites, and manufacturing plants regularly need on-site welding repairs, and because so few people are certified and willing to travel to the job, mobile welders can charge premium rates that easily add up to 6 figures, sometimes billing more for a single emergency call-out than a full day of most other trades. Land clearing and brush removal. Rural and suburban property owners need land cleared for construction, agriculture, or fire prevention, and the combination of specialized equipment and physical demand keeps most competitors away, leaving high margins for the ones willing to do it, particularly in regions where wildfire risk has made brush clearing something insurance companies now require rather than simply recommend. Crane and equipment rental. You don't need to own a fleet to start. Renting out a single piece of heavy equipment with an operator to construction sites can generate more in a week than most salaried jobs pay in a month, because the alternative for a contractor, buying the equipment outright, costs far more than renting it for the handful of days they actually need it. Portable toilet rental. It sounds like the least glamorous business on this entire list, and it is, but construction sites, festivals, and events all require it by law in most areas, and the recurring delivery and pickup model creates steady, boring, six-figure revenue with a single event season, sometimes generating more profit than an entire year of a more respectable side hustle. Scaffolding rental and setup. Every construction project needs scaffolding, and the companies that rent and install it get paid for the entire duration of the project, not just a single visit, which stacks up fast across multiple active job sites, sometimes turning a single mid-sized commercial build into months of guaranteed weekly billing. Industrial cleaning and degreasing. Restaurants, warehouses, and manufacturing floors accumulate grease and grime that regular cleaning services won't touch, and the specialized equipment and chemicals required keep general competitors out, letting established operators charge accordingly, often billing several times what a standard janitorial company would charge for comparable square footage. Mobile fleet washing. Companies with delivery vans, food trucks, or work vehicles need them cleaned regularly for brand image and hygiene, and a mobile operator who signs 3 or 4 fleet contracts can build a six-figure schedule without a single walk-in customer, working almost entirely off recurring, pre-scheduled routes that rarely require any active sales effort once they're in place. Demolition and debris hauling for small projects. Not full building demolition, but interior teardown, tenant improvements, and small structure removal. Contractors constantly need this handled fast, and the willingness to do dirty, physical work keeps the price high and the competition thin, since most general laborers would rather do almost anything else than spend a day hauling debris out of a gutted building. Fire and water damage restoration. Insurance companies pay well for fast, certified restoration work after floods, fires, and leaks. And because homeowners are usually dealing with an emergency, price sensitivity is low, and repeat referrals from insurance adjusters keep the pipeline full, sometimes to the point where a single strong relationship with a local adjuster can fill an entire calendar. Septic and grease trap pumping. Restaurants are legally required to pump grease traps on a schedule, and homes on septic systems need the same treatment every few years, creating a business that's unpleasant enough to keep competitors away and recurring enough to guarantee income year after year, regardless of what's happening in the broader economy. Now here's something worth noticing about all 15. None of them require a college degree, a pitch deck, or outside investors. What they require is a willingness to do work most people quietly rule out before ever looking into the numbers. And I want to sit on that for a second, because it's easy to nod along and still not actually absorb it. Most people don't reject these businesses because they did the math and concluded the opportunity wasn't there. They reject them in about half a second, before any math happens at all, purely because of how the business sounds. That's the real pattern. The income isn't hidden, the willingness is. 3 mistakes people make when chasing six-figure unsexy businesses. Mistake 1. Underpricing out of guilt. A lot of people feel strange charging premium rates for physical or unglamorous work, so they price themselves close to minimum wage instead of close to market value, and end up working twice as hard for half the income these businesses are actually capable of. There's a strange psychological trap where people feel like they haven't earned the right to charge a premium for work that doesn't require a degree, even when the market would happily pay it. Mistake 2. Staying residential when the real money is commercial. Cleaning one house at a time will never scale the way a nightly office contract does. The jump from individual customers to signed commercial contracts is where 6 figures actually starts to become realistic, because a single commercial account can replace a dozen inconsistent residential clients overnight. Mistake 3. Refusing to specialize. Trying to offer every service under the sun instead of becoming the go-to option for one specific, slightly unpleasant task makes it harder to raise prices and harder to get referred. Because nobody remembers a generalist, the way they remember the person who's excellent at exactly one hard thing. Mistake 4, and this one catches people off guard: treating word of mouth as the only marketing strategy that matters. In residential work, referrals can be enough. In commercial work, the businesses that actually hit 6 figures fastest are almost always the ones willing to cold call, cold email, or physically walk into buildings and ask for the contract. Because commercial decision makers rarely go looking for a vendor themselves, they wait for one to show up asking. Which of these 15 fits you? If you have limited capital, look at services where your body and your willingness are the main asset: power washing, window cleaning, or mobile fleet washing. All 3 can realistically be started for a few $1,000s and generate revenue within the first month. Since the barrier isn't capital, it's simply showing up and doing consistent, reliable work. If you have more capital and are comfortable with equipment ownership, crane rental, scaffolding, or vending machine routes, let assets generate income with less of your direct time. Though it's worth being honest that these require more patience up front, since the equipment has to be paid off before the passive part of the income really kicks in. If you don't mind irregular or unpleasant work in exchange for far less competition, septic pumping, grease trap service, or demolition debris hauling sit at the top of the list. And if you're someone who's more comfortable managing relationships and contracts than doing hands-on labor yourself, several of these, like commercial cleaning or fleet washing, scale well into a model where you manage a crew rather than doing the work personally. Let me close with 2 people. Ryan spent 6 years as a marketing manager at a mid-sized company, a job that looked good on paper and came with a title people were impressed by at parties. He was good at his job, genuinely good. He hit his targets, got positive reviews, and did everything the traditional career path told him to do. He also hadn't gotten a meaningful raise in 3 years, and watched 2 rounds of layoffs happen around him, wondering each time if his name would be next. Every time he brought up asking for a promotion, the timing never seemed right. There was a hiring freeze, then a reorg, then a new VP who wanted to observe the team before making changes. 5 years of good work kept translating into the same salary with cost of living adjustments that barely kept pace with rent. Tyler dropped out of a business program in his 2nd year and started a commercial window cleaning route with a single used lift and a list of 40 office buildings he cold called over 3 months. Nobody at his college reunion was impressed when he mentioned it. Most people change the subject, the way people do when they don't quite know how to respond to something that doesn't fit the shape of what a successful answer is supposed to sound like. A few people even seemed a little embarrassed on his behalf. 5 years later, Tyler runs 3 crews, holds contracts with 2 property management companies, and personally takes home more than double what Ryan makes, while working fewer hours than he did in his first year, because his systems now run without him standing on a ladder. He spends most of his week managing schedules, chasing new commercial contracts, and occasionally filling in when a crew member calls out sick, not because he has to, but because he still enjoys the work often enough to not mind it. The difference between Ryan and Tyler was never intelligence or ambition. Ryan had both in abundance, arguably more formal skill and polish than Tyler ever developed. The difference was that Tyler was willing to do something that sounded bad out loud in exchange for income that looked great on paper, and Ryan, like a lot of talented people, kept waiting for a version of success that would sound as good as it paid. If you made it this far, tell me in the comments which of these 15 surprised you the most, or if you already know someone quietly running one of them without anyone realizing how well it pays. If this video helped you see opportunity where you used to see nothing, hit like so it reaches more people, and subscribe for more videos like this every week. I'm Jasmine, and I'll see you in the next one.